you typically get through, etc., etc., etc. Schedule. Just trying to find the ideal spot for me. I hope this doesn't take too much time out of your day to answer. Oh boy, thanks anyways. Sorry I didn't answer it before, but we're doing it now. So, for you guys, what is your schedule like, and what are your deadlines like? As a storyboard artist and director on Rick and Morty.
On Rick and Morty.
Oh boy.
You should start. You answer
Should
the
I?
question.
You start.
Yeah.
Okay,
We'll go
so
this way.
my job is confusing because I'm considered a design cleanup artist, but I'm basically an extra asset to the character design team. I just don't conceptually come up with characters in the very beginning. I mostly take care of things after designs are done and after boards are taken care of. So we'll have a breakdown every 2 weeks. We'll have a breakdown of a storyboard that's already been made into an animatic. Animatified. Our design lead, our character design lead, he'll break up all the designs in one episode. They'll have a breakdown, and he'll split up all the character designs to each character designer on the team, and then I'm kind of like added onto the team, and based on our skills that he knows very well. And then my job is basically I'll either clean up other people's rough sketches of designs, or I will do turnarounds of those designs, which is basically like front, 3/4 front, profile, 3/4 rear, and then so on and so forth, and whatever's needed for scenes. I will design redresses if needed, or special poses, like for example, like if someone's getting their head chopped off, which I've had to do many times in a scene, I will design that for Bardell. We usually have about 2 weeks for every episode to do. Sometimes there's special cases where it goes like about 3 weeks or something, but mostly we try to cut it down like to 2 weeks. We'll finish an episode as a team. I think I get through like, I don't know how many designs I get through a day, because some turnarounds take a very long time, but I can't really answer that question. But we don't work at a ridiculous pace. I don't know, because we don't, yeah, I don't know. I think I'd say like about 8 designs a day, maybe.
Admittedly,
Depends on how easy it is.
admittedly, Rick and Morty's a big show.
Yes. And some turnarounds are insane. Like, depending on the character design, there's been aliens where I'm like, this is taking forever.
Yeah, a lot of them aren't like, humanoid.
Yeah.
So you have to kind of invent what the other side of them looks like a lot of times.
Exactly, the reverse. Oh my god, I just had to do that just recently. Okay, sorry. So storyboard artists and directors, how do your schedules go about?
Storyboard.
Well, we started off an episode launching it in a conference room, usually with our entire board team, our director, some design leads, I believe, and maybe sometimes the writer of the episode, and then Justin usually. And we'll just basically read through the whole script. Justin will give any notes or embellishments on any ideas that he has, and then we kind of break. The director will usually assign certain sequences to certain board artists. Usually it's even, a certain number of pages per board artist. And then we kind of just break, and we go off, and how many weeks did we get to thumbnail? 2?
2. Yeah.
We get
2 for roughs. Yeah.
2 weeks to rough out an episode, and then to clean, I think we got 3. Right?
For this season, yes.
Yeah, we got 3 weeks to clean it up. So basically, what that means is after we would really roughly draw out the whole episode, they would look at it, give us additional notes, and we would address those notes in the 3 weeks after, as well as beautify it, clean it up, make it readable to the animators up in Vancouver.
Yeah. When we're lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think in terms of storyboarding, it's generally accepted to thumbnail or rough out about a page to 2 pages a day, depending on how much action is happening in each page or sequence. It just depends, but that's the pace you basically want to stay at. It's a lot of drawing.
Yeah. And on the directing end, it's basically managing the different board teams. Like when you're a director, that's why ideally they come from board artists. It's because like I can't divvy out a scene and give out the work unless I know how long it's gonna take you to do that stuff. I don't want to overload or like over compensate for like, oh, this is like an action scene. You can get through this really quickly. It's a page of dialogue where it's like all the worm Jerrys are fighting all the like muscular Jerrys and like Xenobets in the background. That's gonna take you like what, an hour, right?
Yeah, it can be really deceiving that way because one sentence can call for like a giant fight scene.
Right.
It's like, yeah, and then they all fight and it's crazy and epic. And then they move on and you're like, whoa, that one little sentence is going to take me 3 days.
It definitely helps when you've done that before, because I've done fight scenes, I've done dance scenes, I've done dialogue scenes. I know, like, yeah, I'll give you the dialogue because that's the break.
Yeah.
So when you're directing, you kind of like divvy out the amount of work based on the board arts you have to like also to the like skills and capabilities. You understand your board artists, like, okay, this person's good at this thing and this person's good at this thing, so I'll give them this, or at least I'll like suggest that they do this because like I know that they're good at this angle.
Yeah.
And then when they get there, you're basically waiting around because you're like, oh, I hope they do a good job, which they usually do if you're any competent as a director. They come back to work, and then it's your job to organize and to hook up all the different scenes that they've done to make and kind of have the overview of the entire episode. And then that's when
you also storyboard some stuff yourself too.
Yes, for this show I actually do take sequences myself, and just because like I don't want to like overload my board artists, I'll take on difficult sequences or things I'm like, don't worry about that, I'll take on this because you have enough work to do. But
Trooper.
But only because like also that's fun.
You're like, mine.
Yeah, mine. But then we get into the where it comes into like Sabrina's work with the character designers. Like, okay, I've done this, so like I can talk to like the designers and the art directors personally.
We've consulted with you guys many times.
Exactly.
What you guys preferred, because you guys are kind of like, you're a director, and then the storyboarders, their scenes. Sometimes the directors will be like, well, ask the people who boarded the scenes. They'll have a preference, so you guys get like a creative input.
Yeah, and so we figure all that stuff together, and that's where it's a creative collaborative process. Yeah, so like the board artists come to me, and then when we talk about the board artists, and I go to like the design crew and figure out, okay, what's this gonna look like? Because Justin, at least on Rick and Morty, Justin gives us very specific directions for certain things, but other things is kind of like whatever you guys want to come up with. And I'm like,
Got some cool animals.
I don't know. Let's go to the designers.
Yeah.
And then some designers are just amazing at coming up with stuff.
Right.
Yeah, even with props,
Yeah.
backgrounds.
so now we have all these boards and all these crazy designs, and then it goes over to production. And
Where I come in.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Anthony, what's your
explain your day.
schedule like?
So mine's the most exciting. Save me for last.
Because you tie all of this in together.
Yeah, I mean, right now, well, on Rick and Morty, I was only a color coordinator, so I just kind of handled getting all the lined assets, so that's like all the lined props, all the characters and all the backgrounds, getting them to their appropriate team to get colored and then shipped to the animation studio. Not the most glorious thing, but it was a lot of fun. It basically, that job in particular was just basically make sure things shipped on time, and when I say shipped, that just means being sent to the animation studio. And then just managing a bunch of spreadsheets and communicating with all of the artists to make sure that they have their work and they're getting the work done on time.
because we miss things.
Oh yeah, for sure. On Harmon Quest, I kind of do that, and then I also work with the designs, making sure all the designs get basically designed.
Production people have to break down every storyboard that's been done.
Yeah. So as soon
break
as
down all the designs.
Everything has to be labeled, organized.
yeah, it's actually, to be honest, I love doing it. It's a lot of fun. I love being organized, and I like animation, so it's like a perfect hybrid for me. But for the most part, yeah, every single thing that gets drawn into a storyboard needs to be like actually designed by a designer. So every background, every prop, if Rick picks up anything, a rock up off of the ground, or D6 box. It needs to be designed in every angle you need to see it in, as well as characters. Maybe a character falls on the ground in a weird position. He needs to be called out for that special position.
Blood squirts out.
If blood squirts out, and aliens have a lot
Yeah,
of different colored
effect.
blood. Yeah. So, I mean, there's props, there's effects, there's backgrounds, there's characters. I just make sure all of that stuff gets designed by the designers that need to design it, and then it gets shipped to the studio. So it's a lot of spreadsheets and a lot of fun looking at computers all day.
And color.
Yeah, not one single episode of animation can be made until all of the designs are shipped. Every single one of every little object.
And Rick and Morty has their own color coordinator because color itself is like
It's a beast,
whole-
yeah. I
Who
mean, Rick and
hopefully
Morty
we'll
in
have on the
general-
show.
Yeah.
Rick and Morty in general, as far as like some of the other shows I worked on, compare it to Rick and Morty, it's like each episode is like 3 episodes of another show. It's just huge.
Gigantic.
Too big.
Yeah.
Show's
Rim
too popular.
lighting, shadows, and the BG paint, and
Yeah. The amount of work that's going into like previous seasons, but even this season, yeah.
This season is a beast. A giant Mega Man.
It is a
movie.
Leviathan.
Was it?
we
Uh,
made a movie.
not Ultraman.
Yeah.
Ultraman.
Yeah, Ultraman.
Ultraman
because
Taro?
it grows.
It,
Oh, yeah.
and feeds
yeah,
them
I
off.
mean,
It is a Megazord.
of any show I've worked on, it is definitely the most complicated yet the most rewarding. For sure.
For sure. Yeah, no, it's when it comes out, you guys are going to be flabbergasted. Trust me.
Hell yeah.
Ask us questions
Hell yeah.
about the show.
Don't ask us. We don't know when it's coming out. And even if we did, we couldn't tell you.
I'm surprised that no one tweeted that question about like when the hell is it?
That's why
Yeah.
I'm loving our fans so far because they've been asking us really good questions.
You toots
That's
are great.
also if you really want to stand out when you have like people visit your schools and stuff, they say ask good questions because I remember we had somebody from Cartoon Network like say stuff about Cartoon Network and I remember some people kind of ruined the session by asking Adventure Time questions like what happens in this episode or what did you think of about this, and it's like yeah, don't kind of take your fandom and step it down a notch and just think of student, think as a student. Just
Or
put the fan away.
professional.
Think production,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes, just keep those questions for later when you're, have a one-on-one relationship with somebody. Ask good questions.
We make
and these are amazing.
cartoons. We make cartoons.
Thank you, little toots.
You toots are great.
These questions are great. There's just one.
Should I do the intro again, or are we good to go? Great.
Oh, there we
Yeah,
go.
let's go.
So there was an intro, and then there was about 45 seconds to a minute of awkwardness. That will serve as our musical intro today, just us rambling about nothing. And now, here we are.